Welcome to a deep dive into hypnosis.
Okay.
Not the kind you might be picturing. We're going beyond relaxation, and we're going to explore this thing called abreaction.
Mm-hmm.
And you can think of it like, accidentally finding this hidden room in your subconscious that you didn't even know was there.
Right.
And today our guide is Virginie Eymere, and she's a professional hypnotist, and she's been kind enough to share her experiences and insights into this fascinating and sometimes unsettling aspect of hypnosis.
Yeah.
So what are the signs that someone's experiencing an abreaction? What's actually happening in the mind when it occurs? And maybe even more intriguingly, like, why should you even care, even if you've never been hypnotized before?
Right.
So let's just start with the basics. What is an abreaction?
It's definitely not your typical emotional response.
Okay.
Imagine this like sudden surge of emotion,
Yeah.
often bordering on terror, and it emerges during a hypnotic session.
Wow.
And it can manifest as screaming intense fear or even hallucinations.
Oh, God.
Yeah, for both the person experiencing it and the hypnotist, it can be very unnerving.
So Virginie describes this hypnotic experience as like a spectrum.
Yeah.
So if one end of the spectrum represents accessing calm and inner resources, would it be right to say that abreactions are like the opposite end of the spectrum?
Yeah.
Like the shadow side of hypnosis?
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Think of the subconscious as this vast landscape.
Okay. Yeah.
And hypnosis lets us explore this terrain.
Right.
And occasionally we might stumble upon this hidden, unsettling area, and that's where abreactions tend to emerge. It's like unearthing this deeply buried wellspring of emotion that suddenly bursts forth.
Yeah. So how can you tell if someone is truly experiencing an abreaction? What are some of the red flags that tell you that this isn't just like, typical sadness or getting a little angry during a session?
Intensity is key.
Okay.
Virginie emphasizes that it goes way beyond typical emotional responses. People might describe feeling extreme cold, seeing darkness, or expressing like a primal fear they can't articulate. They're giving us these fragmented glimpses into this subconscious landscape that suddenly become very real for them.
So in these moments, the hypnotist's role becomes even more critical, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Virginie uses this really cool analogy of a lighthouse keeper guiding a ship through a storm. So what does that guidance actually look like in practice?
It's all about providing a sense of safety and grounding amidst the chaos.
Right.
Constant verbal contact is crucial,
Okay.
offering reassurance and gently leading the person back to the present moment.
Yeah.
Virginie calls it counter-programming, essentially using language to redirect their experience.
I'm curious about that. Can you give us like a specific example of what this counter-programming would look like?
Let's say the person experiencing the abreaction says, "It's so cold, I can't feel my hands."
Right.
The hypnotist might respond with something like, "Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. Imagine the comforting heat of a fireplace." So it's about gently shifting their focus away from these distressing sensations and guiding them toward more positive ones.
So it sounds like the hypnotist almost has to become a storyteller in a way, like they're weaving this new narrative over the one that the subconscious is presenting.
Exactly. The words and imagery used become tools to reshape the experience, to lead the person out of that dark corner
Okay.
and back to a place of safety and calm.
Right.
It requires immense sensitivity and a deep understanding of how the subconscious mind responds to suggestion.
And maybe even more importantly, are there things a hypnotist should avoid doing during an abreaction?
One of the biggest mistakes is trying to forcefully control the situation.
Oh.
Touching the person, clapping, or using harsh commands
Yeah.
can backfire dramatically.
Okay.
It's like throwing fuel on the fire.
Right.
Virginie stresses that these actions can create negative anchors,
Okay.
intensifying the abreaction and potentially making it even more traumatic.
So it's this delicate balance between providing firm guidance, but also respecting the person's vulnerability in that moment.
Absolutely. And it's a reminder that the subconscious mind is a powerful and often unpredictable force.
Yeah.
Even experienced hypnotists can be caught off guard, as we see in Virginie's anecdote about the rugby player.
Ah, yes, the rugby player. It seems that even people who project an image of, strength and resilience can experience these, profound emotional releases.
It's a powerful illustration that no one is immune to the complexities of the subconscious.
Right.
This rugby player, known for his toughness, had difficulty relaxing, and perhaps that very difficulty played a role in what unfolded during his hypnosis session.
That raises an interesting question. Could there be a link between our ability to relax in everyday life and the likelihood of experiencing an abreaction during hypnosis.
Yeah.
It almost seems counterintuitive. You'd think that someone who's good at relaxing would be
Right.
less likely to have such an intense reaction.
That's where the mystery of this subconscious really comes into play.
Yeah.
It might be that for those who struggle to relax, hypnosis acts like this pressure valve,
Okay.
allowing this sudden and dramatic release of pent-up emotions.
Interesting.
It challenges our assumptions about how relaxation and emotional processing might be intertwined.
So we've established that abreactions can be startling. They
Right.
can be unpredictable, but they're also incredibly intriguing.
Yeah.
So what happens after an abreaction? Is there a potential for resolution, or is it just this fleeting glimpse into this subconscious chaos?
One of the most fascinating things about abreactions is that the person often doesn't remember the experience itself.
Wow.
It's like the intensity of the emotions creates this mental block, wiping the slate clean. It's like the intensity of the emotions creates this mental block, wiping the slate clean.
That almost sounds like a protective mechanism, doesn't it? Like
Yeah.
the conscious mind shielding itself from something too overwhelming to process.
It's definitely a possibility. But even though the memory might be gone, Virginie suggests that these events can be a sign
Okay.
that the subconscious is working through something significant, something that needs to be addressed for healing to occur.
So even though it's frightening in the moment, an abreaction could actually be a turning point, like a signal that the subconscious is ready to let go of old patterns and move forward.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it underscores the importance of the hypnotist's role in creating a safe and supportive environment
Okay.
for these releases to occur.
Right.
If we think back to Virginie's advice about avoiding physical touch or forceful commands,
Mm-hmm.
it's clear that the focus should be on gentle guidance and reassurance.
It makes me wonder, why is physical touch such a big no-no during an abreaction? Could you elaborate on that a bit more?
Imagine being in a state of heightened emotional vulnerability,
Okay.
experiencing intense fear or anxiety.
Yeah.
Now imagine someone touching you in that state.
Right.
It could create a negative association, linking physical contact with those feelings of distress.
It's like inadvertently creating a trauma trigger, isn't it?
That's a great way to put it.
Wow.
And the same principle applies to using harsh commands or startling the person.
Right.
It's all about respecting their vulnerability and understanding that the goal is to guide them through the experience,
Okay.
not to force them into submission.
Virginie also mentions that hypnotists shouldn't view an abreaction as a setback or a failure.
Right.
It's more about reframing it as a potential breakthrough.
It's a crucial perspective shift.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing it as something that went wrong,
Right.
it's an opportunity to acknowledge that the subconscious is trying to communicate something important.
Okay.
It's like saying, thank you for bringing this to my attention.
know.
Now let's explore it together.
So how does a hypnotist help their client navigate the aftermath of an abreaction? What are some of the key strategies for supporting them once the intensity subsides?
Patience and empathy are paramount.
Okay.
It's important to allow the person's space to reorient themselves, to gradually bring them back to a state of calm and awareness.
Right.
Gentle questioning can be helpful, but avoid pushing for details they might not remember or feel comfortable sharing.
It sounds like the key is to create a space where they feel safe to process the experience at their own pace, without judgment or pressure.
Exactly. And it's also important to remember that not everyone who experiences hypnosis will have an abreaction.
Right.
It's a relatively rare occurrence.
Yeah.
And there's no way to predict who might be more susceptible.
That makes sense. But this conversation has certainly shed light on a fascinating aspect of the human mind. Abreactions, while potentially unsettling, offer a glimpse into the complex workings of the subconscious and its role in our emotional well-being.
It's a reminder that we all have these hidden depths, these intricate emotional landscapes within us
Yeah.
that we might not always be consciously aware of.
And sometimes it takes a catalyst like hypnosis to bring those emotions to the surface.
It challenges us to consider the role of the subconscious in our daily lives. If, as Virginie suggests, those who struggle to relax might be more prone to abreactions during hypnosis, it makes you wonder about the connection between our conscious efforts to relax and the potential for these deeper emotional releases.
It's a fascinating connection, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there something about the way we approach relaxation that influences how our subconscious processes emotions? Could learning to relax more effectively in our waking hours actually impact what happens when we enter a hypnotic state?
Those are incredibly thought-provoking questions.
Yeah.
Perhaps cultivating healthy relaxation techniques in our daily lives could create a more balanced and harmonious relationship
Okay.
between our conscious and subconscious minds.
It's a beautiful thought.
Hmm.
And it suggests that even if we never experience hypnosis ourselves, understanding these deeper psychological processes can offer valuable insights into our own emotional well-being. Understanding these deeper psychological processes can offer valuable insights into our own emotional well-being. It seems like this idea of abreactions challenges our typical understanding of relaxation.
Mhm.
We often think of relaxation as like a purely positive thing.
Right.
But could it be that sometimes like true relaxation requires facing, those darker emotions, the unsettling emotions that we tend to avoid?
It's a fascinating concept to consider.
Yeah.
Maybe those deeply buried emotions need an outlet, a way to express themselves.
Okay.
And perhaps hypnosis, by creating a state of heightened suggestibility and reduced inhibitions,
Right.
provides that safe space for that release to occur.
So rather than just seeking out like the surface level relaxation,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we should be asking ourselves like what emotions are we avoiding? What parts of ourselves are we keeping hidden even from ourselves?
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. True relaxation might involve confronting those deeper layers,
Yeah.
acknowledging the full spectrum of our emotional experience,
Right.
both light and shadow.
It's almost as if those who appear most relaxed on the surface might actually be the ones with the most to unpack. Beneath, it reminds me of that saying, still waters run deep.
Exactly. And perhaps the path to genuine well-being isn't about eliminating those darker emotions altogether,
Right.
but about learning to navigate them with greater awareness and compassion.
This deep dive into Abreactions has been incredibly insightful.
Yeah, it has.
It's clear that these events, while potentially startling, they offer this unique window into the subconscious mind and its influence on our emotional lives.
It's a powerful testament to the complexity and resilience of the human psyche.
Yeah.
We have these incredible mechanisms for processing experiences and working towards healing, even when we're not consciously aware of it.
And even though abreactions are relatively rare, I think understanding them can benefit anyone, whether they've experienced hypnosis or not.
Absolutely.
It encourages us to pay attention to our emotional landscape, to be curious about what lies beneath the surface.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that there's always more to discover about ourselves.
Right.
And that the journey inward can be just as fascinating and rewarding
Okay.
as any outward exploration.
So for those listening, here's something to ponder as we wrap up. What if the key to unlocking our full potential lies in understanding and embracing that intricate dance between our conscious and subconscious minds? Until next time, keep diving deep.